Some moments on stage don't just embarrass rappers, they haunt them forever. Imagine being one of the biggest stars alive, with thousands of fans watching, and suddenly, everything goes wrong. From microphones cutting out mid-performance, to a sneaker flying out of nowhere, to rappers falling through the stage. These are the humiliations no artist ever once replayed. Today, we're breaking down 15 times rappers were humiliated on stage, and trust me, some of these moments will make you cringe so hard you'll feel the secondhand embarrassment yourself. Let's kick things off with number 1, Biggie Smalls. Summer Jam 1995 was supposed to be a triumphant moment for Biggie and Junior Mafia, a headlining slot in front of thousands of screaming fans. But instead of glory, it turned into one of the most humiliating nights his DJ, Big Cap, would ever experience. The weather that day was scorching, and the vinyl record's cap was spinning literally began to warp and melt. Every scratch came out warped, every beat fell off, and the music started collapsing in real time. Biggie, standing under the spotlight, couldn't afford to look like the one messing up, so he turned the frustration into a show of authority. Each time Cap slipped, Biggie shouted, $100, mocking him like a fine system. Then, in front of everyone, he snapped. He hurled a water bottle at Cap and stormed off the stage mid-song. Fans in the arena were stunned. Imagine being Cap-humiliated, blamed, abandoned. After the show, he was left to drag all his gear back to the hotel alone in a taxi. But here's the kicker. When Cap finally knocked on Biggie's door to apologize, Big opened it laughing, surrounded by women, and admitted he knew the heat had melted the records. He just couldn't let the crowd think the fault was his. For Cap, it was pure humiliation. For Biggie, it was all about image. And next up at number 2, CeeLo Green. By 2011, CeeLo was flying high on his smash hit, Forget You, and Coachella was the perfect stage to show off his star power. But what happened that day proved how quickly festival crowds can turn on you. He showed up nearly 30 minutes late, leaving fans restless and irritated before he even touched the mic. By the time he hit the stage, boos were already rolling in. CeeLo tried to smooth it over, apologizing and blaming scheduling. Sorry guys, I just landed. I only have 20 minutes. It ain't my fault. But when you're at Coachella, excuses don't cut it. He rushed through just 5 songs, including a cover of Journey's Don't Stop Believin'. But before he could even finish, organizers cut his microphone to keep the festival on schedule. Imagine standing on stage, the crowd booing, your voice suddenly gone. He stormed off in embarrassment, leaving the audience unsatisfied and vocal about their frustration. For a star who once commanded arenas, being booed off at Coachella was a career lowlight, and the lesson was clear. No matter how big your hit is, if you're late to a festival set, fans won't forgive you. In a way, CeeLo's Coachella humiliation was proof that timing is everything in the music business. Now for number 3, Old Dirty Bastard. The Grammys are usually about glitz, polish, and scripted acceptance speeches. But in 1998, ODB turned it into pure chaos. That year, Wu-Tang Clan had been nominated for Best Rap Album, but they lost to Diddy's No Way Out. Furious and defiant, ODB wasn't about to take the loss quietly. Moments later, when folk singer Sean Colvin stepped on stage to accept her Song of the Year award, ODB stormed up in a brand new designer suit he'd bought, expecting to celebrate Wu's victory. Grabbing the mic, he declared, "Wu-Tang is for the children. Puffy is good, but Wu-Tang is the best."
I said, but when it comes to the children, Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children. You know what I mean? Puffy is good, but Wu-Tang.
The audience froze in shock. Sean Colvin stood motionless, her big moment hijacked by ODB's rant. The clip went viral before viral was even a thing. Broadcast across the world as one of the Grammys' most awkward moments ever. At the time, it was humiliating for ODB, for Colvin, for Wu-Tang's image. But years later, that infamous line became legendary. Fans still chant "Wu-Tang is for the children" as a rallying cry. What looked like sabotage that night turned into cultural history. Still, in that moment, it was raw embarrassment, a rapper using the biggest stage in music to air his frustration and ending up remembered for chaos instead of a win. Here's number 4, Busta Rhymes. If there's one thing Busta is known for, it's energy. His whole career has been about explosive performances, rapid-fire delivery, and keeping the crowd hyped at level 10. But one night at Webster Hall in New York, that energy literally sent him over the edge. He was making a surprise appearance at OT Genesis's concert, cigar and drink in hand, headbanging to Coco. The crowd was loving it. Then, in one split second, he leaned too far forward and went crashing off the stage into the audience. Fans screamed as security scrambled to pull him back up. When Busta stood, blood was running down his head, and he had to be rushed backstage to get stitched up. TMZ photos later showed him with a nasty gash, proof of just how bad the fall was. But instead of hiding, Busta laughed it off on Twitter. "We done fell off stages and broke limbs while performing and kept going. We stay on level 10. That's the mark of a veteran turning embarrassment into proof of passion." Still, for those in the room, it was brutal to watch one of hip-hop's most powerful performers literally fall out of the spotlight, bloodied but still smiling. Number 5. Lil Mama. The 2009 MTV VMAs were set to end on a high note, Jay-Z and Alicia Keys performing their instant New York anthem, Empire State of Mind. The performance was a celebration of hip-hop and the city itself, but then something happened that became one of the most infamous VMA moments of all time. As Jay and Alicia closed the song, Lil Mama suddenly climbed on stage uninvited. She struck a pose right beside them, as if she belonged in the performance. Jay-Z visibly looked annoyed, brushing her aside as she walked past him. Alicia Keys tried to keep her composure, but the awkwardness was undeniable. The cameras caught everything, and within hours the internet lit up. Lil Mama later apologized, saying she didn't mean any disrespect. She claimed she was caught up in the New York energy, but the damage was already done. To fans and industry insiders, it came across as desperate and clout-chasing. To this day, whenever Lil Mama resurfaces, that VMA moment comes back up. It's the kind of humiliation that sticks. One mistake, one awkward decision, and it can overshadow years of work. For Lil Mama, crashing Jay-Z's stage cemented her place in meme history and not in the way she intended. Now coming in at number 6, Method Man. Stage diving is one of those high-risk, high-reward moves that can electrify a concert when it works, but when it fails, it's unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. Back in 2008, Method Man was performing in London, hyping up a crowd that seemed ready to match his energy. With his signature charisma, he sprinted toward the edge of the stage, preparing to launch himself into the fans like he'd done countless times before. But this time, the crowd wasn't with him. Instead of reaching up to catch the Wu-Tang legend, they split apart like the Red Sea. Method Man came crashing down hard, his body slamming into the floor with no one to break his fall. For a man used to commanding respect, the moment stripped away that aura of invincibility. He wasn't badly injured, but the humiliation stung. Fans in the venue gasped in disbelief. And when clips surfaced online, people laughed, dubbing it the night Wu-Tang didn't have his back. In hip-hop, image is everything, and stage dives are all about trust between artist and audience. When the crowd doesn't catch you, it feels like betrayal. For Method Man, one of rap's most magnetic performers, this wasn't just a fall, it was a rare moment of vulnerability under the harshest spotlight. And now at number 7, 6ix9ine. If Method Man's dive was bad, 6ix9ine's was downright painful and twice as humiliating. In 2018, he was performing at a Fetty Wap concert in New Jersey when he decided to stage dive. But instead of being embraced by the fans, he hit the concrete with a sickening thud. His back took the worst of it, and later he admitted in an interview, "I thought I was going to be paralyzed." But here's where it gets worse. The very next night, he tried again, this time at a Marshmello show. Surely the crowd would catch him this time, right? Wrong. He leapt, fell flat again, and the fans laughed instead of helping. The humiliation doubled. Clips of both dives went viral within hours, shared endlessly across social media. Memes spread instantly, mocking the rainbow-haired rapper who couldn't even pull off one of the simplest concert stunts. 6ix9ine himself admitted, "Anytime I get dropped, it's at another person's show. I feel like the fans thought it was funny, and that's the thing, he built his entire brand on trolling, chaos, and making others the butt of the joke. But here, the universe flipped the script. For once, 6ix9ine wasn't the one laughing. The world was laughing at him. Let's move to number 8, Kanye West. Shanghai 2025. 70,000 fans packed into a stadium for Kanye's much-hyped comeback show after years of controversy. The air was thick with anticipation. This was supposed to be the moment Ye reminded the world of his greatness. Instead, it became a public meltdown. Kanye showed up more than 40 minutes late. The boos began before he even stepped on stage. Some fans started chanting for refunds, and when the performance finally began, it only got worse. Technical glitches caused songs to restart, the sound was patchy, and heavy rain poured down. The stage setup itself was shockingly bare minimal lights, no spectacle, nothing like the grand productions Kanye was once known for. For a man who revolutionized live shows with floating stages and theatrical design, this looked cheap. Chinese social media erupted in outrage. One post read, "Never seen such a poorly organized concert." Another joked that the refund chants were louder than Kanye's music. Within hours, memes flooded the internet. For Kanye, this wasn't just a bad night, it was symbolic. The man once hailed as a visionary was now being mocked for failure. It was a brutal reminder that in music, your reputation can crumble as quickly as your stage setup. Number 9. Ice Spice. At Brisbane's Wildlands Festival in Australia, fans had traveled hours and paid up to $1,350 for tickets to see her headline. Expectations were high, but instead of delivering, Ice Spice showed up nearly half an hour late. The crowd, already restless, was pushed to the edge of frustration. Then came the ultimate humiliation. Just 5 minutes into her set, organizers cut her microphone completely, citing the festival's strict 12 to 30 a.m. curfew. Left in silence, Ice Spice tried pacing up and down the stage, but the boos quickly drowned her out. Finally, she flashed a peace sign and walked off, leaving fans angry and unimpressed. Online, the backlash was immediate and harsh. One fan wrote, "She's getting paid to show up and perform and she's late?" Entitled. Another added bluntly, "That's embarrassing." Videos of the moment spread across social media, fueling the criticism. For a rising star trying to cement her reputation, being booed off in another country wasn't just humiliating, it was damaging. Professionalism matters, especially at international festivals. And this moment raised a tough question. Was Ice Spice ready for the big stage, or did she just blow a major chance to prove herself? Number 10. Megan Thee Stallion. Coachella 2025 was meant to be Megan's crowning moment. She brought out legends like Queen Latifah, Ciara, and Victoria Monet, turning the stage into a celebration of women in hip-hop. Fans hyped it as Megchella, a night to remember. But mid-performance, disaster struck. Her microphone cut out completely. 1 second, her booming voice filled the desert air. The next, silence. The music kept playing, but Megan's vocals disappeared. For a performer, it's the ultimate nightmare. But here's what made the moment unforgettable. Megan didn't stop. She kept rapping, dancing, and hyping the crowd even though no one could hear her. Fans picked up the slack, chanting her name and rapping along to keep the energy alive. It turned into a strange mix of humiliation and empowerment. Online speculation spread that her mic was cut because she went over her set time. Coachella organizers never confirmed it, but Megan embraced it. On Instagram, she proudly stamped the night as Megchella. It was a bold way to reclaim the narrative, but the truth is, the sight of Megan performing in silence was awkward and unforgettable. It showed her resilience, but also reminded everyone that even the biggest stars are vulnerable to technical sabotage. Next, we've got number 11, Travis Scott. In 2017, Drake brought Travis out as a surprise guest during his London show. The crowd erupted, the energy was electric, but then came a moment that instantly went down in meme history. As Travis strutted across the massive stage, he suddenly vanished, falling into a giant hole meant for a globe prop. His auto-tuned, "Yeah," cut off mid-note as he dropped out of sight, leaving the audience gasping in disbelief. Drake, ever the showman, laughed it off and even refunded the audience, but the embarrassment spread like wildfire. Within hours, clips of Travis disappearing into the abyss flooded social media, turning his fall into a viral sensation. But if there's one thing about Travis, it's that he knows how to spin chaos into hype. When asked about the incident, he brushed it off, saying, "I didn't fall, dude, I flew. I'm a magician like David Blaine." Only Travis Scott could take such a public humiliation and rebrand it as another legendary moment in his unpredictable career. Coming in at number 12, Slim JXME of Ray Shremmerd. Governor's Ball 2015 was supposed to be another wild set from the duo known for high-energy performances, but things took a shocking turn. Just minutes into the show, Slim JXME climbed a speaker and leapt off to hype the crowd. Instead of a smooth landing, he slammed into something jagged, slicing open his leg. Security rushed in, carrying him back on stage as blood poured down. Sway Lee stopped the music and told the stunned crowd, "This nigga's leg is split open? I'm serious." Fans watched in horror as the performance transformed from party energy to medical emergency in seconds. Despite the severity of the injury, Slim tried to power through, showing grit and toughness. But the damage was clear, and the images of him bleeding out mid-show quickly spread online. What was supposed to be hype turned into humiliation proof that sometimes going too hard on stage can backfire in the ugliest way. To this day, it's remembered as one of hip-hop's gnarliest concert mishaps. Now for number 13, Playboi Carti. Wireless Festival in the UK was buzzing when Carti hit the stage. Known for his chaotic energy and unpredictable antics, he had the crowd in a frenzy. But in the middle of the madness, he misjudged a jump. Backward, he leapt off the extended platform only to fall straight into the pit below. For a few tense moments, fans gasped, unsure if he was hurt. But then Carti popped back up, unfazed, and raged even harder, turning the accident into fuel for more chaos. The crowd roared, but the internet wasn't as forgiving. The fall went viral instantly, with fans replaying the clip and clowning the rapper for his misstep. In true Carti fashion, he didn't let the humiliation stop him. If anything, it added to his reputation for unpredictability. But still, in that exact moment, the fall was embarrassing proof that even the wildest performers can be taken down by a single wrong step. For Carti, it wasn't career-ending, but it was a viral reminder that sometimes chaos bites back. At number 8, we have Keek Da Sneak. For fans of Bay Area rap, Keek Da Sneak is royalty. With his raspy voice and unique delivery, he became one of the pioneers of the hyphy movement in the mid-2000s. Songs like Super Hyphy and his collaboration with E40 on Tell Me When to Go became cultural anthems, sparking a new energy in West Coast hip-hop. But while his influence was undeniable, Keek's career path was riddled with struggles. He served time in prison for a gun possession charge and later faced one of the darkest moments of his life. In 2017, Keek was shot multiple times in an attack that left him partially paralyzed. For many, that would have been the end, but Keek Da Sneak showed the same grit that made him a Bay legend in the first place. Even in a wheelchair, he returned to the studio, determined to keep making music. He still releases tracks and performs locally, staying connected to his community and culture. While he may never return to national fame, his resilience keeps him cemented as a hero in Oakland. Keek didn't disappear because he failed, he survived and adapted, even when life tried to erase him. Number 9 is Hurricane Chris. If you remember the summer of 2007, you remember A Bay Bay. That single catapulted Hurricane Chris from Shreveport, Louisiana, into the national spotlight. His debut album, 51,050 Ratchet, introduced the world to his energy, and for a while, he looked like the next big Southern star. But years later, his career would take a dark and unexpected turn. In 2020, Chris was arrested after a fatal shooting at a gas station in Louisiana. Prosecutors charged him with second-degree murder, and suddenly the rapper who once had the clubs on lock was fighting for his life in court. Fans watched in shock as headlines painted him as a man who might never see freedom again. The trial dragged on until 2023, when a jury acquitted him of all charges. Walking out of court, Chris said, "They wanted to give me life if I was found guilty. Now I can hug my son and think about raising him to be a man." It was a moment of relief, but the ordeal drained him and nearly destroyed his career. Today, Hurricane Chris is keeping a low profile, raising his son, and living far from the bright lights of the industry. His disappearance wasn't about falling off, it was about survival.